Clouds rolling over the foothills as we begin 4 o'clock. Definitely a different feel today. This is a live look at Lookout Mountain. So we can tell weather's changing. You know, we didn't wake up and say, I could wear shorts, maybe.
It's also like it's not like we didn't have a warning. Here in Denver, even more ominous clouds. It all set to produce some moisture, by the way, that we haven't seen in the metro area really all month long. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. I'm Phil Lipoff.
I'm Kim Christensen. The mountains are seeing the snow. They're very happy. In the metro area, a different story. But Kathy, you got to say it felt good. Well, this morning I just so wanted to sleep in.
I know.
Oh, God.
I know. The clouds just have that feel to it, and temperatures 15 to 20 degrees cooler. And now we're just waiting on the rain. But those clouds are dark out there. The rain will be coming up from the south. So we have a little bit of a breakup by Fort Collins. Might actually get a pretty sunset before the heavier showers settle in this evening. We've had reports of snow over the higher peaks of the Continental Divide and on I-70. And we have 50 degrees here at the 9 News studios, 46 at DIA, with temperatures, well, some 14 to 16 degrees colder than at this point yesterday. So that's a big shock to the system. This is the system here, counterclockwise flow, bringing up that moisture from the south. Beyond that is a second system that we're tracking for the weekend. So definitely a more unsettled and progressive pattern for us. It is snowing, as we can see, as indicated by the white on the radar. And this is rain coming up from the south. Haven't seen much in Denver yet, but Monument Hill, Pikes Peak, Cripple Creek, Pagosa Springs, all reporting snow showers. And we've had snow showers around Frisco, Georgetown, and Winter Park as well. The rain will be settling in and will continue late into the evening. Snow level remains pretty high, but if you go west above 7,000 feet, you might see a couple of snowflakes on the windshield tonight. Not a big impact with the storm, but some very welcome moisture. And for the farmers and ranchers on the eastern plains, could see up to half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of beneficial moisture. So temperatures in the low 50s now will drop into the 40s with periods of rain showers off and on between now and the wee hours of the morning. Another check of the radar and more on the weekend storm and who could see rain or snow.
Snowfall in southern Colorado is already causing issues on the road. Colorado State Patrol says a school bus with more than a dozen kids on board slid off a snowy covered road. It happened earlier today on Highway 160 in South Fork. This is just north of Wolf Creek ski area. CSP says the driver attempted to slow down when the bus just started to slide. Turned over and crashed into abandoned railroad tracks. Thankfully, none of the 13 kids on board or the driver was hurt. A new report says drug overdoses and deaths are rising inside Denver's jail. It's a trend jails across the country are experiencing.
We know fentanyl can be cheap and easy to access, which means the drug continues to make its way inside these facilities. Investigative reporter Jeremy Hohola is here now. Jeremy, you broke down the numbers and heard from the sheriff on how they're trying to curb overdoses.
The Denver Sheriff's Department is on the front line of combating a national problem.
This is Sheriff Elias Diggins at Denver's jail reacting to a report from the Independent Monitor that says overdoses are surging among inmates.
The jail is ground zero in the war against drugs, in the war against fentanyl that the nation is involved in, so there absolutely has been a surge.
One way to quantify overdoses is the use of Narcan, medication that reverses overdoses. Last year, deputies and medical staff at the Denver jail used Narcan 76 times. So far this year, they've used it 84 times. A few cases may not be overdoses because Narcan is used every time someone is found unconscious, and the number of deaths show alarming trends. According to the city's health department, last year 2 people died at the jail of an overdose. So far this year, 5 have died.
I would say what you see in the community translates to what you see here. One of the things that I share with folks is that addiction does not stop once folks come into our custody.
Overall, citywide in Denver, non-fatal and fatal overdoses are each up more than 20% this year. Over the last 2 years, the jail has tried new ways to keep drugs out, from a new body scanner that detects drugs on inmates, to monitoring phone calls, to retraining canines to sniff out fentanyl.
How are these drugs still getting inside after all of these efforts that you're establishing?
That's a good question, Jeremy, and we continue to try to figure out ways to combat those drugs coming in. People have become very creative in trying to introduce those into our facilities. It's one of our top priorities and continuing to try to combat, and we're going to continue to do that.
The Prison Policy Initiative, a nonprofit that speaks out against mass incarceration, also sees a nationwide spike in jail overdoses.
Anyone who is already struggling with drug addiction when they're in jail is going to find drugs quite available and in a more dangerous form.
It has been a requirement for several years for jail deputies to carry Narcan on them at all times. And based on the numbers that you heard in our report there, deputies and medical staff are using Narcan about 2 times per week in the jail system. So, as the sheriff says here, that medication is clearly saving lives. Back to you, Kim.
Makes all the difference. And thank you for asking about that, because I think most of us are pretty naive and think, well, how in the world do drugs get inside a jail?
Yeah, they can do a lot, but they're still going to make their way in. It's going to be an inevitability that this happens. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jeremy Hohola.
Aurora police are still looking for a person who shot and killed a 22-year-old man. This happened near Montview Park late last night. It happened near Beeler and East 17th Avenue just before 10. Witnesses told Aurora police that they saw 2 men arguing when the suspect pulled out a gun and started firing at the victim. The victim was taken to the hospital with some serious injuries, where he later died. APD says the suspect is still on the run.
Today marks 3 years since the mass shooting at Club Q in Colorado Springs. Ashley Pa, Daniel Aston, Derek Rump, Kelly Loving, and Raymond Green Vance were all shot and killed that night. Close to 24 others were hurt. Since that night, lawmakers here in Colorado have passed the Kelly Loving Act to expand legal protections for the transgender community. And last night, a memorial was held for the victims and survivors at the Retro Lounge, a place founded by survivors after the shooting.
A UC Health program that helps people kick nicotine is expanding in the hopes of reaching more Coloradans. This comes after funding was cut for the critical national campaign that reportedly helped millions of people quit smoking. 9 News reporter Jaleesa Irizarry shows us how this program is having an impact on people all across the state.
At UC Health Hospital, under an overcast sky,
it's still a risk.
Yesenia Treviso talks about the clouds she'd rather not see.
And whether you're quitting smoking, smoke less, chew tobacco, or any form of vape, we can help you.
Treviso is the supervisor for UC Health's tobacco and nicotine treatment program. The outpatient service helps anyone free of charge, but many of its participants start as patients, like Holly Carter in Grand Junction.
Yes, I was on a BiPAP machine because my CO2 level was at 90. It's supposed to be from 35 to 40%. And so they said, I don't know, like, how you're still alive.
Carter says she took a 5-hour ambulance ride from the Western Slope to UC Health in Aurora, where she spent 8 days in the ICU.
I needed to change, otherwise I wasn't going to live, and I'm so thankful for their program and the support.
But it's never too late to make the change.
And change is coming to UC Health's services. The nicotine treatment program is adding a bilingual specialist to reach Spanish speakers. This comes as the CDC ends their Tips from a Former Smoker campaign. Adds that, according to the center, increased Colorado quitline calls by an average of 11% in 2023.
I think it's harder for the Spanish community to receive help in their native language, so we really want to take the opportunity to say we're here and we can help you.
Treviso hopes the addition will bring more patients in. While the idea of quitting can be daunting, on this cloudy day, she wants to make sure one thing is clear.
It's never too late, and we're here to help, so reach out.
UC Health's program helps Coloradans anywhere in the state, in person, by phone, or video. They're also launching regular support groups for people actively trying to quit. While the counseling is free, medication costs depend on your insurance. Jaleesa Irizarry, 9 News.
Jaleesa, thank you for that. I mean, this is so good because years ago it was like, oh, it'd be good for you if you stop. Now we know it's life or death.
Exactly, and it's not just cigarette smoking, right? It's vaping as well, which is continuing to get popular with the younger audience.
All right, Jaleesa, thanks so much.
Former Republican Vice President Dick Cheney was remembered today at a funeral service in Washington, D.C. Cheney, who was known as a chief architect of the war in Iraq, died earlier this month at the age of 84. And today's service inside Washington National Cathedral, he was remembered by his family and his friends as a man uncompromising in his defense of the U.S. Former President George W. Bush said Cheney's harsh public persona was far different from the one he chose to show others closest to him.
Dick was funny and easygoing in a style that his public image never caught up with. though we can all agree wasn't your standard issue politician. If any voters came hoping for a kind word and a hug, they'd have to settle for the kind word.
In addition to Bush, former President Joe Biden attended the services, as well as former Vice President Kamala Harris and Mike Pence, both vice presidents. President Trump was not invited to the service.